we're doing the oldest cooking class in all of Puglia. Market visits, seafood, wine tasting, olive oil tasting. It's all coming up.
We started our morning in the beautiful Baroque town Lecce, known as the Florence of the South. Here we met Silvestro, the head of the Awaiting Table Cooking School, which is devoted to understanding the deeper connection the regional food has to the history, culture, and land itself.
Imagine 364 more Thanksgivings a year, and that's close to how Italy really likes to eat. There's really a profound lack of nationalism or national mentality or identity in Italy. It really comes down to the village, and that's reinforced every day by food. We're going to be on the fish market.
We were invited to this cooking class, but our thoughts remain our own.
The reason fast food has not taken off in Italy as much is because the mongers are picking up the slack. So this and a fork is an office worker's lunch. This and a bag of pasta goes on dinner. These are eaten raw, by the way. They have salmon, which
we started learning right from the get-go, and not just about what we're going to cook that day, but about how the locals eat, where the fish comes from, and even how it affects our bodies.
You want to get fish that are not bigger than your dinner plate. Every time you start getting big pieces of fish with no bones in them, there are going to be problems. We're going to do a lesson on grilling whole fish. We're going to do a lesson on cooking cephalopods.
We're only an hour in, and the whole experience has already been so educational and informative. We're really seeing like how a local would go to the fish shop, and now we're going to get some vegetables and see how they would cook. This is apparently the biggest or oldest market in Lecce, and we're going to get some veggies.
The quality is very high. This is curly chicory, so you talk about how many kinds of chicory there are. This is sort of a starter kit for chicory, least bitter. Then this is going to be cultivated Catalonia, and we're going to have some wild chicory. So this is going to be really high in cellulose. The problem with cellulose is we have to use heat and moisture to break this down, make this tender. This is really wide, which means it's very low in cellulose. This is also very high in bitterness.
Oh my gosh, it's super spicy.
As we walked around the market, you could really see and even smell just how fresh the produce was and how much love goes into growing it from the local farmers.
All the aged cheeses are going to be coming, again, northern Italy or elevated regions. Eggs not refrigerated. The pasta we're going to be making is going to be this right here. Everyone ready?
Smells amazing.
Follow me. This is an old stable I restored in 2001. These are
so cool.
troughs. Here, I'll help you. I feel this is all coming together.
It's all coming together. It's all coming together.
All right, so we have 3 ingredients. This is hard durum wheat. Durum is Latin for hard. This is barley. See, it's very gray. So small pile, big pile, 35% of the gray on top of the other. And then we have pitchers or jugs of water in front of you. Fill up your hole. Swimming pool, whatever.
Swimming pool.
Have a beach.
Okay. Uh-oh, I got my water. Ouch.
Throw more flour down because you really stick in your hands and also really stick with the board. So in a few moments, we're going to start dividing this up and splitting one another. And the goal there is to get it consistent so we can cook them all together. Everyone ready? Can I show you what we're doing?
Yep.
So I'm going to measure this. Now I'm going to do a smear. Flip it inside out. For how much pasta is consumed in this lentil, probably the most interesting element is how few shapes there are. Really only 2 shapes made regularly.
And we made the most famous shape to Puglia, orchieri. We didn't come just to make pasta, so there's still more to do.
Chicory, already talked about the market, they're really wide versus tall. Parsley, when cut the size of rice. So about something like that, really small. This is going to catch on fire before this dries out. So we want really important that it's really thin. So thin, and the wiggle-licious, you want those in a big bowl. And then I'm going to show you how to clean a squid. They got the membrane coming away. We're going to remove the wings. I'm going to use this knife upside down. Blade is pointing to the ceiling. Open up the tube. His or her last meal right there. Scraping it horizontally, remove all that.
Okay, so pull the... Okay, oh, like this, okay. That's really easy. Oh, right here.
That's it?
Yeah.
And you just tear it down through.
Tear it with fingers?
Point to the ceiling, grab onto the beard, pull down. That is now a clean muscle.
Would you remove this if it's like a beard?
Yeah, so that's pull this down, push this up. I want you to come open the wine. I think that how it works though is happy wife, happy life.
In typical Italian fashion, we took a break from cooking to drink some wine.
All right, so we have 3 kinds of pink wine on the table. I said this earlier, if you think pink wine is being new and trendy, it's exactly the opposite. So wine was pink for 1,000 years before it was ever white or red. So how do you move people from beer to wine? How do people move from Manhattans and Rob Roys to wine or whiskey or whatever else? And the gateway in was sweet pink wine, right? So you sit down and think, oh my God, I don't know what I'm tasting. Focus on pink things. You're gonna be right far more than you're not. So grab onto the one, far left, and what do you smell or taste? Yeah, for me, white peaches. White peaches.
Yeah, white peaches, yeah.
I mean, I also taste like sort of fruit cocktail or pears under syrup.
Oh, it's so
This is
good.
where we are.
We also tasted 3 delicious olive oils. First course, mussels.
Any of you that are not open, you don't want to open them, just toss them. We have half the mussels still in the bowl right here.
So she's like, you're not doing it.
I'm not doing it fast enough.
After a very generous wine tasting, we were all feeling highly qualified to roll up our sleeves and start cooking.
I don't know what that means.
Because let's be honest, all great Italian meals start with a little liquid confidence. With our questionable techniques on display, we all got to work, each taking different parts of the recipe, all proving that in Italy, enthusiasm is just as important as skill.
It was fun. I'll just tell me.
But not sure if Anna, the kitchen staff, agreed. I think she might have preferred more skill and less wine-infused enthusiasm.
Pass it around. Everyone serve yourself.
We were all very impressed by how the pasta turned out with our lack of skill. It was fresh, chewy, and so delicious. I think Anna's patience had worn out as the second set of students rolled in to learn how to cook some whole fish. Good thing for her, she didn't have to see us long as we were shortly called back into the dining room to learn how to debone a whole fish. No, this is not a piñata, it's just me making some brittle. Poor Anna. The meal ended in a typical Italian fashion with a light, sweet treat and a small glass of Amaro. As we walked back to our meeting point with Silvestro, he told us about all the other must-try traditional Puglian food, so make sure you check out our road trip video so you can discover them all.